Assalamu alaikum students. I want to discuss linear functions in this video. The general form of a linear function is y equals ax plus b, where a and b are real numbers. So an example, a very basic example could be y equals 2x plus 3. Now suppose that we want to sketch this. In order to sketch this, the first step is that you find the x-intercept. How do you find the x-intercept? You put y equals 0. So you see, when you put y equals 0, then 2x plus 3 comes out to be equal to 0. This gives you x equals minus 3 by 2. Now if you don't understand what that is, and if you want to see this in decimals, what you have to do is that you have to type minus 3 by 2 in your calculator, right? And then you have to press this S and D button. This should give you minus 1.5. So minus 3 by 2 is actually the same as minus 1.5. So minus 1.5 is your x-intercept. So you want to go to your grid and you want to mark where minus 1.5 is on the x-axis. So you've marked your x-intercept here. The second point that you need in order to sketch a linear function is the y-intercept. How do you find the y-intercept? You put x equals 0. Now you see that in your function, when you substitute x equals 0, y comes out to be equal to 3. So you go back to your grid and you want to mark y equals 3. It must be on the positive side of the y-axis. So 3 must be here somewhere, right? So you have the x-intercept, you have the y-intercept, and all you have to do now is that you have to pass a straight line through these 2 points, and in the end you have to call it y equals 2x plus 3 because that's the function that you've just plotted. So what do you need for a linear function? You need an x-intercept and a y-intercept. So you draw the x-intercept and the y-intercept, pass a line through the 2 points, and that basically is your linear function. It's as simple as that. Now there are 2 extremes. Let's talk about the first extreme. So let's deal with functions like y equals 3. So in functions like these, where there is no x, what's happening is that a is actually coming out to be a0, in which case you have y equals b, and this is what you want to plot. If you want to plot y equals 3, for instance, so what you have to do is that you have to remember that the x-axis is basically the equation y equals 0. And if you have to plot y equals 3, then y equals 3 should be parallel to y equals 0, right? So y equals 3 is going to be this. It's supposed to be a straight line. Sorry about this, right? So this straight line, flat line, which has a 0 gradient, is basically has the equation y equals 3. So similarly, if you had to plot y equals minus 5, so that would have been this, right? The other extreme is if you have equations like x equals 2, for instance. So if you see the general form of the equation, what's happening is that y is 0 in this case, and you have x equals such and such. So if you want to sketch x equals 2, you have to remember that y-axis has the equation x equals 0. And if you want to sketch x equals to 2, it should be parallel to x equals 0, right? So if 2 is here somewhere, so the line for x equals to 2 is going to be this straight line here.